Lauderdale streets and airport.
It's really scary.
From snow to water, runoff from Utah's mountain, overwhelming communities.
It's literally running out of the park down 17th South.
Neighbors say they're just trying to keep the runoff water going down and not into their homes.
Summer tease. Just how hot will it get across the nation today? And what does it mean for allergy season?
I've noticed I've had a really congested sinuses right here in the last 72 hours.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. It was a record-setting night in South Florida as torrential rains pounded Fort Lauderdale. At times it was falling at a rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour, and it led to this right here. Flash flooding with 14 to 20 inches drenching the region. To put all of this in perspective, Fort Lauderdale averages 3 inches of rain in the entire month of April. In fact, more rain may have fallen there yesterday than in the wettest month of April in the city's history. In downtown Fort Lauderdale, the flooding was so severe, you can see it here. This man was swimming down the street as drivers attempted to get their cars through deep water. The flooding shut down the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport on Wednesday night as well, and flights are not expected to resume until at least noon today. People were forced to get out of their cars and waist deep water, stopping traffic and trapping people inside the terminal. Nicole Lenzalata has more.
I've seen it flood, but it's never been this bad.
Bad enough that an elderly man had to be pulled from his flooded car outside Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. His rescuers struggling to walk in waist-deep water. Water pouring onto the northbound Federal Highway entrance to the airport, paralyzing traffic going in.
I'm supposed to leave. It was 7:25, but then I got a message about an hour ago. It's leaving an hour later.
And not an inch of movement going out. Around 5:40, the airport shut down. Officials asking people not to come to the airport or to leave. Water flooding the tarmac. But off the plane, it wasn't any better. In fact, it was likely worse. The rain relentless, flooding lower levels of a parking garage.
It's really scary.
And the flooding on surrounding roadways and on airport property led to hours-long gridlock, trapping drivers in their cars.
There were no public announcements.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's frustrating. Would have just stayed in the terminal if we'd known.
I had to pull on the side. Streets were flooded everywhere.
Mark Barber was trying to get to a friend's mother in her flooded home.
Everywhere was flooded out, every which way. They go down 84, so I thought I could swing through the airport, but I'm stuck here.
Inside the terminal and outside in traffic, it's just a waiting game, waiting for the rain to end.
I'm going to be here for 2 weeks, so I will have time to enjoy my family.
Well, officials at the Fort Lauderdale airport have said they opened one road to allow people to get to the airport to get picked up. And this morning, the National Weather Service said it's now investigating possible tornado damage. The threat in the southeast continues today, but it's all along the Gulf Coast. Meteorologist Lauren Oleski is tracking that storm system for us.
We're looking at our setup right now across the Gulf of Mexico. Area of low pressure been spinning and moving north, bringing a lot of heavy rain across parts of the south. Also bringing heavy rain to southeast Florida. Over 20 inches of rain fell in Fort Lauderdale in just 12 hours yesterday. That's going to continue to move off towards the northeast. And as it does, it still brings the threat for some heavy rain across portions of the south as we move throughout Thursday afternoon and even into the evening. Right now, parts of the south will likely pick up anywhere from an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain between now and early tomorrow morning as we see that low pressure to continue to move inland.
The Salt Lake City region is dealing with rising flood waters on multiple fronts. All that snow that fell this winter is now streaming down the mountains. In some cases, the water has already damaged buildings and also roads. And in other places, communities are coming together to try and keep the water out of their homes. We have several reports this morning, starting with Jim Spiewak.
This is the runoff from Immigration Creek. It's literally running out of the park down 17th South. So we're on 17th South right now, and this is running with a purpose. Because all of the reservoirs in the creek have crested and it's overflowing, what utility crews are doing right now is they are controlling as best they can the flow of water. People in this community have come out in droves to fill sandbags. A couple trucks have dropped off huge piles of sand, and this is what you're seeing. Community coming together, helping people out. It's really quite amazing to see. We did catch up with one of the emergency management responders a little bit earlier. Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
The water that's moving through here is moving very fast. There's debris in it, and it's extremely cold. Cold to the point of if you fall into it, you won't be able to move your arms and legs because it's just that instantly incapacitating.
Fear became reality for some North Ogden homeowners.
We knew something was coming, but to this level, and it just, yeah.
Kelly Dalton says her childhood home is safe for now.
This is wild. Like, I've never seen it like this.
But she's worried that wall of sandbags won't be enough as the Garner Canyon area continues to melt and runoff water comes down.
I don't think I'm going to sleep at night until this subsides. I'm really nervous that it could happen.
North Ogden spokesman John Cole says the biggest problem is that debris in culverts and storm drains.
The debris is clogging it and bogging it down.
Orchard Ridge Lane in Kaysville is now a river. We were here when the sandbags were placed this morning. Here's why. Back there, the road eroded. It's a ravine. That's ravine number 1. There's another one, and it's even worse than that. Let's go across the street. So we understand from our reporting from this morning that this was caused by a clogged storm drain. And there have been people from the city of Kaysville out here today. Look at this, though. This is ravine number 2. It is right next to some new homes, new housing development going up here, several contractors involved. There are dumpsters right in the middle of that ravine, presumably to handle all of the trash from the construction. All of those now right there in the middle of Orchard Ridge Lane.
Went to go to bed last night about 11 and heard kind of some rushing water.
It was a long night. And did you see it when this ravine opened up?
Yeah. I mean, it just did it slowly, so chunks kind of fell throughout the night.
Hours later, a clearer view of calamity. You worried about your investment?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we don't know, if this will affect home values, if there's anything like that.
Lots of questions right now.
Yeah.
Well, the other big weather story today is the heat. Much of the nation will get a preview of summer with temperatures 20 to even 30 degrees above normal. We could hit 90 degrees right here in Washington, D.C. The average high, though, is 67. It will likely be warmer in Boston today than in Miami or even Houston. But don't get too used to the heat. Temperatures will return to normal or even below normal by the weekend. California's water infrastructure is being put to the test. Reporter Rich Rodriguez explains new concerns about flood relief efforts at Friant Dam and how the snowmelt could push the dam past its limits.
Millerton holds 500,000 acre-feet of water, but the snowpack, when it thaws, can fill Millerton at minimum 6 times.
I would say that there's a high probability that water will be coming over the top of the dam later this year, but it all depends on the timing of the snowmelt. If that comes off too fast, there will be no way to hold it.
Water is coming out of Friant Dam at 9,000 cubic feet per second. Now that's enough water to cover 18,000 acres in one day, a foot deep. But this water isn't streaming to farms. It's flowing farther west.
All of that's being lost to the Pacific Ocean. It has the potential of causing mass flooding as we see a record snow melt in May.
Flooding is top priority.
If it gets too hot too fast and these reservoirs can't hold the amount of snowpack we've got some real dire situations out there.
All eyes remain on the snowpack and how high the water is rising in local reservoirs.
And amazing images here. You're looking at colorful, never-before-seen details of the remnants of an exploded star captured by the James Webb Space Telescope. The glowing gas and dust are all that remains of the star. It exploded in a supernova. It's the youngest known supernova remnant in our galaxy. The new infrared image has been translated into visible light so that we can see it with the human eye and see all those colors. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to Wisconsin for an inside look at how they collect eggs from walleye fish. And we'll head to the Northeast where we'll find out why tulips are blooming early.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. We look at the Northeast. We have some pretty warm temperatures in the Northeast on tap for today. Look at this. Most areas will top out in the 70s and 80s. It's going to be a warm day, certainly by April standards. That's an old warm front that has moved out. Look for a lot of sunshine. The wind is going to be lighter today. Notice 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We have a nice clear sky. There will be onshore winds developing near the coastline, though, so sea breezes will become a thing for coastal parts in New England. Heading into Friday, look for a lot of sun, and temps will stay on the warm side.
I'm meteorologist Amy Aronson, and here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Our warm stretch will continue. We'll spend 2 more days in the 80s. Thursday, one of the warmer days with highs peaking in the mid and upper 80s. Looks like Friday's just as warm. And we've got more sunshine coming up, too. We stay nice and dry with lots of sunshine on tap Thursday afternoon. Actually, skies should stay clear as we head through week's end, with rain returning with some showers and then eventually some showers and some storms over the weekend. And that's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's your southeast forecast highs for the day. Looking at Nashville, 71 degrees, Tupelo 73, 69 in Birmingham, 64 in Atlanta. We're looking at about 70 in Macon. Warmer temperatures in the 80s as you see towards Tampa and West Palm. Warm front will continue to extend up along the coast. Plenty of sunshine up around Raleigh, 83 degrees, but we do have a chance for some rain in parts of the Gulf regions as an area of low pressure tracks up from the south.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
After sunrise, some breaks in the overcast. Crepuscular rays shine through those breaks in the clouds over the Boise Mountains Wednesday morning. Warming temperatures are on the way there. A man fishing for bass captured this superb sunrise over Lake Ontario near Rochester, New York. And morning twilight produced a multitude of colors in the sky over Reno, Nevada.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
In Michigan, spring means fish egg collection. Officials have been hard at work collecting walleye fish eggs on the Muskegon River. Meteorologist Heather Bricka looks into why the eggs are collected and gives us a closer look at the process.
Several thousands of walleye fish spawn every year downstream of the Croton Dam in Newaygo.
The Muskegon River here gets the biggest run that we know of on the west side of the state. The run in this river is about 40 to 50,000 fish. So pretty massive run, and so that's why it's a good place for us to do the egg take.
The DNR collects the eggs and sperm from the fish, sends them to the hatcheries once they are fertilized, and then they're sent to sit in the hatchery.
We stock these walleyes into would be lakes like Cadillac and Mitchell in the Cadillac area, Tippy Pond, Houghton Pile Pond.
The DNR uses a process called electrofishing that puts an electric current in the water that shocks the fish for easier collection, which is non-lethal.
We've had 3 good days of egg take so far. Walleye numbers are very good so far this spring. There's a lot of fish here, and they've really ripened up nicely, and so today we should be able to finish it up and get our full complement of walleye eggs for the hatcheries.
Last Thursday was the last day of walleye egg take for the year.
The most rewarding part is when I get calls from anglers in lakes that we've stocked telling me that they've caught walleye and how much they appreciate the work that we do so that they can go fishing and have a successful day of fishing.
And this year was a successful year for the DNR for the walleye egg take.
The unusually warm temperatures of the Northeast are causing flowers to bloom sooner than later. Tulip farms in Rhode Island are open earlier than ever with dozens of early blooming tulips ready to be picked. Gabrielle Caracciolo has the story.
We're picking tulips.
Spring is in full bloom at Wicked Tulips Farm in Exeter.
I don't have a favorite color, but I think all of them are my favorite color.
This year, the farm is open earlier than ever, with dozens of early blooming tulips ready to be picked.
We wanted to create an experience, not just to come pick the flowers, but the whole experience of being immersed in all the flowers, the colors, the scents, and everything.
The idea came after owner Carrie-Ann Coman picked tulips herself at her husband's family farm in Holland.
I just felt the most incredible amount of joy, and he, watching me, felt all this joy. We wanted to bring that feeling to people here, because whenever you go to a garden, you're never allowed to pick. They're always like, don't pick the flowers.
Across their 3 locations, 1.5 million tulips were planted, and in just a matter of weeks, they'll all be gone.
We've been open as little as 14 days and as much as 2.5 weeks in the past. You only plant one time, and then you have to move. You have to rotate the field. Tulips can get a disease and it gets in the soil, and so if you're planting them year after year, you're going to get weaker tulips.
The Johnston Farm and their third in Preston, Connecticut, are expected to be ready for flower picking later this month.
We had to expand in order to bring more of that happiness and that joy so that more and more people could come and experience this.
In Salt Lake City, Utah, the mountain snow is causing an increase in cougar sightings. Deer have left the mountains in search of food, not covered in snow, and the cougars are following them. As Ariel Harrison reports, this is causing major problems for local residents.
And we get deer all the time, and so we looked at it, and it wasn't a deer, it was a cougar.
Paige Jimenez woke up this week to an alert of an unexpected visitor overnight.
It looked like it just came from the very back of the yard, is walking straight.
Living close to the mountains, she's gotten used to seeing wildlife in her yard.
Raccoons and deer almost every day.
But they've never seen cougars.
We've thought they might be around, and so I wasn't too surprised.
Not far from Paige's home, the DWR has this trap set in a yard where a family's dog was killed over the weekend. Mark Hadley with DWR says they're following the recent cougar sightings in Ogden closely. With 4 residential sightings, we asked what's being done to keep the cats in the hills.
We just let nature kind of take its course. But as that snow continues to melt, the deer will naturally start to go back up the mountainside, and the cougars will follow them.
Given the recent death of this 10-year-old husky, we asked about additional steps the DWR would potentially take.
Say another pet is killed by a mountain lion and you know that for certain, what would the DWR do then in that particular area?
We would try to get a houndsman there as quickly as possible and hopefully be able to get on the scent of the animal and then be able to track it.
As for residents like Jimenez, the sightings are a reminder to be vigilant.
I think I just need to be more careful going out at night, making sure I'm loud, and always having someone with me.
In Wisconsin, spring is in full effect, with many parts of the state seeing record-setting high temperatures. And despite that fact, the snow was just on the ground. Those high temperatures mean 2 things: fire season and allergy season. Lydia Anderson is in Green Bay with more.
Although it may seem like the snow was just here, the DNR tells us fire season is in full swing in our state.
Fire danger can be very different today versus tomorrow. Things can dry out very quickly when we have vegetation that hasn't fully greened up yet. And we're in that space, right after the snow cover disappears until vegetation fully greens up.
DNR wildfire prevention specialist Catherine Cooley says the organization is expecting a busy week.
So we anticipated an active day yesterday as well as the coming days. So yesterday we had 14 fires for about 11 acres, which is actually pretty good. We're getting on these fires pretty fast.
Cooley says debris burning is the #1 cause of wildfires in our state.
So right now it's really critical that folks hold off on conducting any of those debris burning fires. Campfires for warming or cooking are not recommended as well.
Cooley says if you choose to have one of those campfires in these conditions and you notice the fire spreading, to call 911 immediately and do not attempt to put out a large fire on your own.
Another part of spring is allergy season.
Brittany Bolstad, who suffers from allergies, was enjoying the day fishing with family at Voyager Park in De Pere. Bolstad says she can really feel the effects of the season.
I've noticed I've had a really congested sinuses right here in the last 72 hours, and my eyes are been so itchy. It's why I have my sunglasses on today. And you can even tell I'm kind of nasally
She has been taking over-the-counter medications, but says her allergies will not keep her from getting outside this spring.
Not with sun like this. Allergies won't keep us away.
One place they are not feeling the spring weather yet is in Alaska, with one moose learning that the hard way. This moose calf fell through some thin ice over the weekend. Neighbors, wildlife officials, and Alaskan state troopers sprang into action. They looped a rope around the calf's neck and one of its legs. You can see it here. It took some time, but they eventually managed to free the giant animal. Now, this is no easy job since calves could weigh more than 500 pounds. And now time for a short break. And as we leave you with scenes of downtown Seattle and the Puget Sound.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Your weather across the Midwest. Cool to the north. However, most of us are basking in a lot of sunshine and temperatures trying to get up close to 80 for a lot of the Midwest here. Now, that cooler air does continue to kind of drift its way into South Dakota for tomorrow, but still, the rain is just starting to encroach across the area, and we got some strong thunderstorms potentially Saturday, so keep that in mind across the central part of the Midwest. Temperatures staying fairly warm for a lot of us.
Well, good Thursday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Our forecast today across the region, and we continue to track an area of low pressure in the northern Gulf with some cloudiness, rain chances, and cool temperatures across much of Louisiana, even some of Arkansas. Otherwise, we'll see 70s and 80s for highs through the day. Slight chance of a heavy storm up into the Panhandle. Friday, chance for a couple of heavy storms late day, Oklahoma and North Texas. Meantime, you see those highs, 70s and 80s. Patchy clouds near the Gulf with more humidity.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Such a dramatic temperature difference from the cool air in the Pacific Northwest to the warmer air further to the southwest. We've got very dry conditions and strong winds picking up ahead of a cold front for parts of the southwest. So we're going to be watching for fire weather as we get into parts of New Mexico and Colorado. But further to the north for the Bitterroots into Colorado, some heavy mountain snow, over a foot expected. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
In California, the heavy rain, wind, snow, and atmospheric rivers dominated headlines. But now all that winter weather is making for a beautiful sight. Anwar Stetson is in Redding, where a spring super bloom is in full effect.
Well, the old saying is that April showers bring May flowers, but here in the North State, it looks like Mother Nature came a little early. These past March storms have brought the first super bloom to the North Table Mountain Ecological Reserve, and I just had to check it out. Let's go. The first major bloom of the year is bringing plenty of tourists from around the area to the normally quiet natural space of Table Mountain, like this couple, originally from Jackson, exploring for the first time.
We wanted to go exploring, and so I kept hearing people say go to Table Mountain. So we decided to just get in the car and drive here. And oh my God, we just got here and it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous.
Or this San Diegan who insisted on visiting during a trip to Butte County.
It's just nice, you know. I haven't seen it for many years, and my wife's never seen it, so we came up to Chico, visit some family, and just came out to check it out.
Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll tell you about the new risk ticks pose to you and your pets. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Thursday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.